It's Power Hour LSU.
LSU dominant in victory yet again. Good stuff. Brian Kelly always takes care of business in the blowout win game. So you have to give him a lot of credit there. Was this a game that you will remember? No. Was this better than the Louisiana Tech monstrosity? Absolutely. We're going to start with the positives. Garrett Nussmeier was really good in this game yet again. Michael Van Buren was very good in this game yet again. He looked very impressive for 2026. It is still Garrett Nussmeier's team. I understand there's going to be plenty that speculate, well, Van Buren looked like this. He had a dual threat run on 4th and 11 to pick up a first down. There is garbage time, and then there is garbage time versus an FCS team. This is Garrett Nussmeier's team, as it should be for the rest of eternity. I say it for eternity, but eternity as in 2025. But you do feel better about the backup quarterback room. I also felt Juwan Johnson had himself a really good game, as did Caleb Jackson. A few really good pass pro reps. LSU has not graded well in pass pro. Well, a lot of teams don't grade well in pass pro from their running backs. So I thought Caleb Jackson did some really good things. Also, Berrien Brown, another really good game from him. Okay. We get to the wide receiver room. This is not an elite room. This is a good room that has some very good players. This is not an elite room. The truth is, the drops are an issue. Now, some of the drops are not on LSU, as in sometimes you just get unlucky. The defense goes out there and makes good plays. Some of the drops are on Garrett Nussmeier. Garrett Nussmeier, the Aaron Anderson drop, for instance, that ball was floated. Now, Aaron still needs to make the catch, but that ball has a lot of loft on it. It needs to be fired in there. But Garrett obviously doesn't have an elite arm, and he has a torso injury. But the drops were a major issue. And the issue isn't necessarily that it's a drop from one player, like it once was with Kyron Lacey or Brandon LaFell. It's that everybody's dropping passes. Nick Anderson dropped a touchdown. So the truth is, we have a major drops issue. And then the offensive line had another brutal night. It was better. It was their best game to date. It should have been versus Southeastern. The standard's not that high. We've got to get ready for Ole Miss. Ole Miss looks like a better team than us right now. They blew out a really good Tulane team. I mean, wiped them off the face of the earth. And Tulane's good. John Summerall is going to be coaching at a Power 4 job next year. Okay? The truth is, Ole Miss is very good. It seems like they have found a quarterback. This quarterback can run. We have not faced a dual threat quarterback since Cade Klubnik. We know that can be a weakness for us. DJ Lagway cannot run. I don't care what anyone says. And Cade Klubnik got us with his legs, but he's bad. So Trinidad Chambliss, I think that's what all of us expected in the first half of the season before the bye, is going to be by far the best quarterback and by far the best offense we have faced. So we'll see what happens next week. We'll talk more about adjustments for the Ole Miss game a little bit later. But this offensive line is still so bad. And tonight it was crystal clear It is crystal clear who the weak link is, and it's Weston Davis, and there's not a close second. Nobody is close to how bad he's been. Tyree Adams had some tough reps tonight. Josh Thompson, him not being the best player in the world doesn't help Weston either. The teams are just going to continue to twist against him, and we're not going to be able to pick it up all year. But Weston Davis is not an SEC level player. He can go start at UL. He should be playing in Ypsilanti, where the Cajuns lost to Eastern Michigan tonight. Weston Davis is not good enough to play SEC football right now. It would be one thing if you were just getting beat. It's false starts. False start in the red zone. Right at the end of the half. The worst time to get it. You do it earlier in the second quarter, we can work with it, but we're also fighting the clock. And then on the play after it, it took a superhuman play from Garrett after Weston Davis got beat again. He's not come close to having even a mediocre game. They have all been bad. Bad. And they need to do something about it. It cannot go on any further. Now, versus Ole Miss, you're probably going to have to start him again unless you want to put Carius Kern there. Because DJ Chester is not going to be available for the first half because of a targeting penalty on a field goal kick. That was a terrible call against DJ. But we're in a tough spot on the offensive line. We just are. I don't think Cohen Eccles is the issue. He had a tough game tonight as well. This unit still has major problems. Major problems. All right. But it is time to say something as blunt and as truthful as I possibly can. We cannot develop one SEC starting quality SEC offensive lineman. It's impossible unless we get Will Campbell. Okay. Emory Jones really struggled last year at right tackle. He is in the NFL right now. They still drafted him. There's something with our development. Something. And it's not just me saying this. I've seen and heard NFL evaluators talk about some of our techniques and so on. Okay, we can point the finger at Brad Davis. We could point the finger at Brian Kelly. It could be Garrett Nussmeier. It could be whoever. We need to be better. It is unacceptable. I watch all these other offenses on Power Hour SEC. You can see the breakdowns for yourself. Overall this year in the SEC, offenses have actually been good. They have actually been good overall. It is unacceptable. It is unacceptable. All right. Now we go to the defensive side of the football. They were dominant. They were really good. Yet again, Whit Weeks is starting to put himself up in the all-time great LSU linebacker category if he isn't already there. He's probably safely in the top 10. If he finishes the season well, he's probably closer to the top 5 than a lot of us would think. He had another great game. Defensive line was great. Obviously, the bigger takeaway from today is how did the backup defense look? And they look good. Damian Shanklin had some juice. He's a thicker defensive end. You guys know I like my thickness. I have spoken to Damian Shanklin. He has been interviewed on this channel before. A Northerner. He has done. He did really well tonight. Did some really good things. We even had Brian Kelly's kid, Kenzo Kelly, friend of the channel, get some reps tonight. So defensively, PJ Woodland played a lot tonight with the first unit. That was something. AJ Halsey continues to be in the right spot all the time. Harold Perkins did Harold Perkins things. There's really not a whole lot to talk about defensively. Because now, what can we say about the LSU defense? They are probably the best defense in the SEC. Now, notice I said probably because the two Power 4 teams we have played have turned out to be ass. Absolute, positively, a big old bag of ass. So this is the problem that a lot of us are going to have. Yes, I'm excited we beat Southeastern. I am very excited. I want us to celebrate victory, which is why I started with the positives. But we must ask ourselves, knowing Clemson was one of the preseason most overrated teams ever in college football history. Ever. I can't remember a national championship contender having a worse opening month of the season ever in the history of this sport. And we know Florida got beat by 19. They put up 7 total points tonight. Now, Miami is a really good team. Their defense is probably a top 5 defense as well. But we have to ask ourselves, how good is this defense? I still think they're elite. You guys have eyeballs. You can see we're flying around. You can see we're playing together. We can see we have a pass rush. We can see we had an unbelievable defensive coordinator. But we won't really know something know something until next week. But I think we're going to be fine because Ole Miss has not seen a defense like ours just yet. Arkansas's defense is terrible. They lit it up last week. Tulane is Tulane. So there you go. I truly do think, though, we are in trouble next week versus Ole Miss. And Brian Kelly has got to make quite a few adjustments. This is a tough trip for us. We have not won there in a while. So let's go get it done. Go to hell, Ole Miss, go to hell. And a lot of you hate Ole Miss more than any other team we play on the schedule because we have some old schoolers. The Ole Miss game, you can argue, was the first big annual game that LSU played. Now, Mississippi State technically is the oldest team that we played annually, but that's no longer. And Ole Miss, of course, 1958, Billy Cannon. There's a story there. But enjoy this trip. Enjoy it. We might not have it anymore. They're a good team. Now, here's the big positive. Is yes, our offense has holes like Swiss cheese. We do have issues. And even though the Ole Miss defense was phenomenal today, they're still not that good. Go watch the film. A lot of the guys that flat out kicked our ass last year, Chris Pupal had an all-world game versus us. Walter Nolan ate our lunch. They're no longer there. Trey Amos had a pick. He's no longer there. So Garrett Nussmeier was really good versus this Ole Miss team last year. So let's see what happens. Let's buckle the F up and go into Oxford and kick their asses. We didn't have any big injuries. Trades did warm up, and we will see if he's going to be ready to go. Okay? So, y'all, I'm locked in. As you can see, I'm pretty fired up. I don't know how late we're going to be. We will be back with our normal halftime show, live stream coverage. We could not do a halftime show tonight. We will be back next week for the pregame, halftime, and postgame. All right. Now, before we get to your comments and your super chats, it is so important, PHL, to support our partners, Zion Imaging and the 360 Spin Booth Experience. Our friends at Laborde Therapy Center in Lafayette, 5 different regions. And then, of course, y'all, in a minute, you're going to learn about something I knew nothing about. Roofing. I know very little about roofing. How you could save up to 37% on your homeowner's insurance. We're going to tell you all about that here in just a moment. Okay, with our new PHL partners. Okay. Now, before we get to your comments, okay, I want to tell you about our friends at Fortified Gulf Close. FortifiedGulf.com. Ramey and their staff. Did you know that if a shingle falls off your roof, it can leak? You don't want leakage. Ramey and their team, they give you an extra layer under the leakage to where if your shingle falls off, water doesn't come through and still ruin your house. FortifiedGulf.com. You can save money. FortifiedGulf.com. It's crazy. It's crazy. Now, let's talk about Michael Van Buren. Oh, boy. There's nothing that anybody in this world loves more than a backup quarterback. Oh, my goodness. Nobody loves anything in the world like a backup quarterback. especially one that can run. Oh, boy. I felt like a Mormon on his wedding night seeing a QB that can actually run. It felt great. And shout out to all our Mormons. I love Mormons. We live near a Mormon church. Steve Young, we love you. That was not a shot at Mormons. They have extra fun on wedding nights, as you know. Don't want to get canceled. Shout out BYU. But the truth is, it was nice seeing a quarterback that can give you something with his legs. Now, is it, I had a few of you text me, it looks like Kyler Murray out there. MVP is not that level of a runner. He's a very good runner, though. So it does give you something, especially behind a porous offensive line. But it just pumped the brakes a little bit here. This is still Garrett's team. It still should be Garrett's team. It's important to point out that Garrett had a very good night tonight. It is important, okay? So, Michael Van Buren looked good. He looked really good. Touchdown pass to Kyle Parker, running Hoss juke over the middle. Excellent stuff. Good round from Kyle. Kyle had a good night tonight. I'm still skeptical if he gets a bigger role here. But Kyle was good. Kyle was good tonight. I just don't think Michael Van Buren was so good to where you say, Garrett, the 5 years you put into this program, we don't need you. You're on the bench. Okay? Because look, a few years ago we're making this argument for Garrett over Jaden. So it's not quite time to have that conversation. Now, if Garrett played the Louisiana Tech game tonight and he had another tough night, then I am more open to having that conversation. But yes, an offense is going to look a lot smoother when you're playing against Southeastern backups. Okay? So there you go. We sat at Tim Zimmer. What's up, Tim? TZ, let's go. Who only likes to eat at Nukes. Let's go to our first super chat. Rai. We should have gone to you first. I appreciate your support. Once again, Venmo, Cash App, at Card of the Power. Moves you to the front of the line. It is so important to point out Damian Shanklin's 2 sacks. It's not been smooth sailing for Damian Shanklin because there is nothing in life quite like coaches telling you, hey, we're going to bring in some other guys. We recruited you out of high school, but we're going to recruit guys that we know can play and will play over you. So what does Damian Shanklin do? He seizes the opportunity to go out there and make plays. And he made plays. And Gabriel Relaford went down. We don't know how hurt he is. So who is that next defensive end going to step up? Who's it going to be? Dylan Carpenter also got himself a sack. Good for Dylan. I feel even better for Dylan because he's had to wait his turn. Shanklin, of course, is a true freshman. Carpenter, this is year 3. And he was a late add to the recruiting cycle. Ron Wright isn't worried about our starting defense versus Ole Miss. It's got to get better on offense. Okay? Let's go here. Okay. Let's have a conversation about Caden. So Caden was put on blast by the broadcast. He was. Which was shocking because more often than not, early in games, the montages focus on quarterbacks. Okay? Now, this is more for the ladies, but maybe for the gentlemen. What gets lost in translation is a color commentator, the former Bachelor, Jordan Rogers, is an extremely good-looking male. I mean, we can be honest about it. But the guy knows ball. He knows ball. And he was the one that drew up the montage saying Caden Durham misses holes. Okay? Now, I think they also said it was his birthday. Happy birthday to you, Jordan Rogers. But I know some people are going to be like, oh, you're a dude. Why are you saying it? He was on the damn Bachelor. You tell me if anyone has ever been The Bachelor and been hideous? Have they ever had one hideous person on the show? No, they're all beautiful. They're all beautiful. If you want, we could try and get a bachelorette on the show. I know I'm friends of a friends of one of them. But the truth is, he is a good analyst. He was the one that called out Arch Manning, saying Arch Manning wasn't all that good. And they crucified him for it. So Jordan Rogers had a little montage saying that Caden Durham misses holes. And guess what? He's right. Okay, if you're a Power Hour LSU subscriber, you know that Caden has missed a few. He missed a big one versus Florida. He missed a few last year. The UCLA game, there was a few bad ones. But he's still the best running back on this team. He's still the best running back on this team. It's just not been as good as we would have thunk. How much of that is him? How much of that is the environment? It's probably a mixture of both. You know, I think one thing is we would have thunk that Caden would be a bigger factor in the pass game like he was last year. But it's been tough. Let's go to Melder. I'm trying not to be negative. I'm trying not to. Okay, I go by the comments. I go by what I've written down as far as my notes are concerned. I also go by how I felt the game was, and I felt like I've been mostly positive. Xavion had another big game tonight. He continues to go out there and make plays for us. Okay, once again, this LSU team doesn't have an alpha. It's a collaborative effort from start to finish. All right, so you can see the final numbers here. First thing we look for when we get into the numbers is yards per play. Okay, so what was LSU's yard per play numbers? Well, they were really good. 6.8 yards per play. 7 is a good number. Now, I would tell you I would like to get to 7 versus a team like Southeastern, but 6.8 is a good number. Okay. One thing I will say, though, is I do think there is one massive hole on this team. All right. And this is going to sound very personal, and we'll tell you what that is coming up right after this. Power Hour Network listeners and viewers, you might be consuming this content with that crick in your back that you've been trying to get rid of for so long. Take this as your sign today to book your appointment with LabourdTherapy.com. In the Lafayette region, there is no one that you will find that cares more about any different type of pain that you might have than the team at LabourdTherapy.com. Book today. Once again, that's LABORDE therapy.com, or you can visit one of their 5 locations all throughout the Lafayette region. All right, so let's talk about penalties. Once again, LabourdTherapy.com. Big shout out to our viewers in Morgan City. Okay, so you notice we won the 3rd and 4th down battle. They were 1 of 12 combined on 3rd and 4th down. Really good stuff. We were 12 of 17. That's even better, obviously. But I want you to take a look at the penalties. All right, the penalties were so freaking big in this game. 7 penalties for 50 yards. How many of those penalties were false starts? A lot of them. Okay. So before, and I could just say this from here, I'm not going to turn the screen off. But what about false start penalties? Why do they bug me so much? Because a false start is something that is objective. Now, it's a subjective call, but referees get false starts correct 99.9% of the time. Holds are missed all the time. Pass interferences are up for interpretation. There's so many rules. But false starts are something that you control. you can control not moving before the ball is snapped. I am so sick of the false starts. We had 2 false starts on running backs. We got to be better. Okay. Now, let's get back into the stats. We've got to stop with the false starts, y'all. We just do. Barsharp, our leading receiver. Barry and Brown had himself a great game. Aaron Anderson, as you guys know, he never has a bad game. 3 catches for 46 yards on 4 targets. Not a true Aaron game. A true Aaron game, it's in that 7 catch for like 78 yards category. Kyle Parker, once again, had himself a good day. Once again, a lot of that was in mop-up duty. But he had a few good catches on the 2-minute drive, one on the RPO from Garrett. But yeah, you see Caden Durham right there, 3 catches, 7 yards. And I'm just going to say it. I'm just going to say it. All right, I'm going to save it here because this is going to be the most I told you so comment ever. One of my best calls I have ever made is that Donovan Green would be a factor on this team. He was fan-freaking-tastic. 2 catches, 40 yards, a great catch. And that was really good quarterbacking for Michael Van Buren. Had a double move to the left side and then worked back over the middle to the big tight end. Donovan Green is a good football player. Okay, didn't generate much buzz in camp, but this honestly was just some simple logic for me making the Donovan Green call. As you can see, once again, it was a collaborative defensive effort. This is probably the lowest leading tackler performance ever at LSU, with Deshaun Spears having 4 total tackles and everyone else basically having 3, 2, or 1. That's a good thing. That means defensively, you really went out there and kicked their asses, as you should have. Bernard Gooden did some big things like he's done all year. He really pops. Jack Pyburn gets a half sack. Good stuff from him. Once again, Damian Shanklin and his 2 sacks, really good stuff. Jacoby and Guillory went viral last week, and then, of course, he follows up with another good performance. Jamari Butler had a few plays where he dropped back into coverage. Really good night. Really, really good night from this defense. Walter Mathis continues to play more, number 91. You love to see it. You really do. Okay? Now, let's get back to your comments. Juwan Johnson has had a good game, and you said I've hated him? Hate is a strong word. I think he's a decent running back. Is he what I envision with my RB2 at LSU? No. You would have liked one of the running backs you've recruited, who's actually a running back, to be the RB2. That's more of a compliment to Juwan Johnson. A guy who's recruited at defensive back, then moved to quarterback, is now your RB2. That shows versatility. But yes, Juwan Johnson had himself a really good game. He really did. So Cortland brings up, maybe Caden Durham is not 100%. To your point, Cortland, he's always had some lower body issues. Tari's eye testing Caden Durham. Okay. Caden Durham is out of shape, says Tari. His midsection is bloated. I don't know if I'd go that far. I guess I need to look at his midsection again. Pause. That's the most pause thing in the world. But you're saying that you think he's a little chunky. He looks like me. You're saying he's got too much of this. Now, truth be told, while you look at this, I did go run today. I am at my lightest weight I've been at in quite some time. I weigh in at 196, but tonight, the reason we couldn't do a halftime show is my best buddy had a engagement party. I won't be able to go to his wedding, so I went to that for a few minutes. I had the LSU game on. I don't miss snaps, baby. I don't get tired. And they had those little finger sandwiches. like those little ham sliders with the garlic stuff on the top. And that's what a lot of this is. So what Tari is saying, for those that don't know, he's not saying midsection like down there. He's saying this right here is bloated, like me right now. Yeah, Tari. So now Tari's calling me chunky. I guess I'll give a good hard look at Caden Durham's belly. I like my running backs to have a little chunk on them, though. A little. I don't need lean RBs. I need some thicker than cold peanut butter RBs. No, not a pause, man. I was just showing you what he was doing. How many podcasters aren't afraid to show off their midsection? I don't mind. If y'all want me to start an OnlyFans, I will. I could use it. Let's go to Seth them. That's a good point. Kyle Parker does block his ass off. The one thing I like about Kyle Parker is that he does not patty cake blocks. If you're going to run through a Kyle Parker block, you've got to legit run through him. Ugh. Yeah, I guess I'll need to do some intel on Caden Durham. Is he slacking? That's not what I've heard, but maybe he is. You know, he was second team All SEC. I was really high on Caden Durham going into the season, but then again, how many times have you seen him with someone right in his face when he's getting the football? I'm not talking about people knifing in and tackling him at the line of scrimmage. I'm talking about point blank, face to face. This is how much space Caden Durham has when he runs. That's how close defenders are when he gets the football. It's right here. It's right here, right in his face. Them Kenny Hilliards, dude. I miss Kenny Hilliard. Still the best RB celebration of all time. Buck Nation, let's go. Grant, good to see you. Thanks for the text during the stream. Now, let's talk a little bit here about something that does concern me. Oh my God, this concerns me. It really does. Okay. Cold out Chia, welcome to the channel. Pill Spade. I'm guessing you're an Ole Miss fan. Ole Miss fans have a high percentage of Saints fans. Most Ole Miss fans are Saints fans. Let's go to Sibley. Tigers played with a smile full of energy tonight. Ole Miss defense did look good today. Okay. Now, special teams. We tried a long kick tonight. It was a very long kick. It was 10 yards short. 10 yards. I couldn't believe my eyes. We have had multiple kicks that have been short. So, our special teams, which has had its moments, we've had to burn timeouts on special teams, and it's not been an atrocity. It's not been 2022. It's not cost us any games yet. It's not really been a big issue. We muffed a punt. You know, Barryon took a few out that he probably shouldn't have, but I'm actually okay with it. We've got to have a conversation with Ramos. He is a good college kicker. I like the fact that we've had a traditional 4-year player. He has played his 4 years of eligibility. all with us. He has been with us since the beginning of the Brian Kelly era. But on these longer kicks, Aaron Burrell needs to be the kicker. He needs to be the kicker. I don't care how inaccurate it is. You can't have a kick at that distance be 10 yards short. Okay? We got to, especially with an offense that can stall out in the red zone. It didn't matter because Southeastern decided to line up a DT in front of the freaking long snapper, which is the first thing they teach you in special teams, that you can't do that. So there you go. Yeah, Seth, I think he is hurt from the Clemson game, but you can't be 10 yards short on that kick. The only field goal in history that is excusable to be 10 yards short was when Lane Kiffin trotted out Sebastian Janikowski for a 77-yarder. That is the only one in the history of the sport that should be 10 yards short. So we've got to try the Burrell kicker. We just do. He is an athlete. The kid has real juice. He could probably be a defensive back for Southeastern. Leg has some energy on it. But yeah, it was. But I don't know. The funny thing is, if you follow his TikTok, he's hit those before. But it's all about what you can do in games. And on the TikTok, he's not like getting a 10-yard run up. It's just his normal run up. Something's wrong. Something's wrong. Let's go to Chance. Is Juwan Johnson currently LSU's best running back? No, it's still Durham. It is interesting so many people are still, in this chat in particular, poking at Caden. I don't think Juwan's the best back on this team, though. I don't. Let's see. I really don't think it would matter if we had Jeremy Hill or Leonard Fournette on this team, though. Juwan Johnson's long run in the night was 16 yards. How about a Garrett Nussmeier scramble tonight for 26? Have we tried Juwan Johnson at kicker? He could do it, man. It was either 77 or 71. It was something like that. I loved Sebastian Janikowski. I'm telling you, low-key, I'm a Florida State fan. Dude, there's so many Florida State guys I freaking love. TOV, what's up, man? Yeah, so, I just think in terms of range of outcomes, even if Caden is struggling some right now, he just gives you so much more upside. So much more upside. And I do think we're a team that's lost a first-round left tackle and a team that's lost basically a first-round tight end. Barry Sharp did some really good things tonight. He'd be fired up for this one. He looked really good. Donovan Green looked really good. But, we've missed Mason Taylor, more so in the run blocking aspect of it. So, yeah. Let's go to Jesse. Oh, 76. Interesting. Let's go to Jesse. What's up, man? It's been a while since I've seen you. Do you think this offensive performance gives us momentum for the Ole Miss game, that the offense looks better than the Florida and Clemson game. Yes. So offense is a weird thing. It's a very weird thing where previous production gets you going, right? You get a rhythm. You have a visualization of what an actual offense looks like. So what I said after the Clemson game was, yes, the offense was fantastic. This team is good enough to go to the college football playoff, but especially during the film study, I was like, I'm not sure how good this offensive line played, because we played a very gadgety style with a bunch of quick screens and stuff that is very easily adjustable from a defensive coaching perspective. Okay, so when that happens, you must be able to actually run an offense. So part of the problem with Louisiana Tech were those plays that we were running, we can't really run versus other teams because they're going to be ready for it. And then since then, we just really haven't been able to field an offense. But now that we have visualized this offense to where it needs to be tonight, we're in a good spot. Shout out to Van, as always, personal friend of the channel. Make sure y'all go check out Ringer Tailgate, the newest national podcast of college football that's taken the world by storm. You want to learn about someone who has a bigger belly than me, that also plays quarterback for Nebraska, who wants to be like Patrick Mahomes, Dylan Raiola, who lost to Bryce Underwood? You want to go learn about that? They did a really good recap of it on their channel. Check it out, Ringer Tailgate. I'm glad you brought up Weston Davis. Okay. So I've already went on my Weston Davis rant, but we're going to do it again here because it deserves the conversation. Okay. So we're going to go. I don't like piling on any of these players. You guys know it. It makes me feel so uncomfortable to talk bad about any player. It makes me so uncomfortable. I wish you guys knew how uncomfortable it made me, because these are just kids trying to live their dreams. That's it. That's it. I don't like doing it. I really, really, really don't. But you guys know, last year, there were 2 starters on the LSU offense that were the lowest graded starters of the PFF era. So that's a decade's worth of data. And this is offensive or defensive starters. The 2 lowest starters with minimum 400 snaps, DJ Chester and Paul Mabenga. And their grades were, DJ Chester was around 49, Paul Mabenga was around 47. Weston Davis, up to this point in the season, is at 40. 40, that's his PFF grade. So how do you determine PFF grades? Well, a 60 is a reasonable quality starting level player. 50 is a replacement level player. 40 is well below a replacement level player. So what does that mean? That any starter you could think of at the P4 level, if we put him in place of Weston Davis, in theory, we would be 10 points better. Not like actual points, but we would be 10 PFF graded points better than Weston Davis. Okay? But here's the thing. Those are just subjective film study with the mix of graded analytics mixed in there. That's what the PFF pros have done. But guess what, PHL Nation? Guess what? Guess what? You've got eyes too, and you can see it for yourself. It is an absolute monstrosity that we are witnessing at right tackle. It's a monstrosity. It is terrible. It is awful. I feel like Stephen A. Smith piling on one player, but that's where we are. It's a problem. And I don't know if we're going to be able to fix it. I'm starting to get a little warm. The only problem with this is that it has a yellow thing and it gets a little mixed up. I might go white tea. I might go Pate State. And why did I ban music? I actually unbanned him. He's never come back. Van likes it when I block people. Van likes it when I go in. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I really don't know what to say. Now, there were a few times where 71 Tyree Adams got beat. Let's be fair. I need to go back to drinking beer. It's that kind of night. I feel great. That's kind of why I want to drink it. I'm glad we won a game. Anytime you get a win, you should celebrate. Lane Kiffin. Right, coming in from Canada. You see that CA? That's what it stands for. That doesn't stand for Carter. Here's $5. That doesn't stand for California. That stands for Canada. Home of Steve Nash and Mike Myers and Poutine. Canada. Where if I chopped off my leg, they're covering my bill. Canada. Let's go. I need to go to Toronto. I need to hit up my boy Gretzky. No, not Matt Canada. We do not speak of him, even though at LSU he was fine. Steelers, what are you doing, Tomlin? Whew. Let's go to PJ. Go, PJ. That's my PJ. Yeah. Is it bad that I do not feel good about this team as a whole? Well, PJ, I got something for you. Just for you. An answer from your boy on if you should be a total negative Tiger. It's coming up right after this. PHL Nation, it's time to lock in and get serious really quickly with our friends at Fortified Gulf Coast and FortifiedGulf.com. This is my buddy Ramey. He is one of many Fortified Gulf Coast inspection professionals that are doing something to help you not only save your home, but your memories.
The Fortified program got started about 13 years ago. We adopted it here in New Orleans about 2.5 years ago. It's a more advanced way of doing the roof. It adds an extra layer of protection, whereas even if a hurricane was to pull the shingles off this roof, water will still not get into the house.
So yes, your establishment is important, but what about the things you can't replace? That family scrapbook or that painting that's been handed down from Meemaw to Papaw and to you. It is important to protect that today with Fortified Roofing. And while this seems like a priceless asset, did you know it can actually save you on your homeowner's insurance up to 37% if you are in South Louisiana? Just call the number 504-444-7563. That's 504-444-7563 or visit fortifiedgulf.com. That's FORTIFIEDGULF.com. Let's go. Shout out to Grimes with the super chat. Look at this professional headshot. Are you kidding me, Grimes? Huh? You look like you're on a Grammy red carpet here. Look at that. Welcome to the channel, everybody. Show some clap emojis in the chat. And thanks to Van and Grimes, we've hit the hundo mark in super chats. And when we hit the hundo marks in super chats, we got to give out an autograph card. Boom. Because our defensive ends are playing well. Let's give out this Arden Key autograph card. Who wants it? Who wants it? I might send it to Grimes. Grimes, if you want it, hit me up. Let's go to TJ. It's a weird season. I'm with you. Still unsure how to feel about this team. Well, you are the same person. Not the same person, but PJ feels the same way. So, TJ, if it's okay, before I answer this, what do we talk about on this channel all the time? The super dads of PHO. I would say probably 75 to 80% of you watching this right now, you are a dad. TJ just became a dad. Round of applause for TJ. Just became a father. His beautiful wife, Madeline. I had the good fortune of DJing their wedding. It's been, what, a year and a half since y'all have been married. Have y'all gotten tired of each other? Have you? I get tired of Haley all the time. Don't tell her. If y'all know what I mean. I still love her. God bless. But TJ, I know it's your personal information. I probably shouldn't have shared it. I should have texted you first. But I'm happy for you. Send this to Madeline. Yes, you should be worried. You should be worried because the eye test is something. Now, the good thing about college football is that the only thing that matters is your loss column. Your win column doesn't matter, especially in the SEC. Your loss column is all that matters, unless you want to win it all. If you're going to win the whole shebang, the eye test still holds merit. Let's take Ohio State, for instance. If you actually sat and watched their games, you would see that the eye test would tell you that they could make a run and win the whole thing. Okay? They could make a strong run and win the whole thing. Judging by the eye test, LSU is not a team that's going to win the national championship this year. Now, that could change. That can change. But ask yourself, how many teams have won a national championship without developing a single offensive lineman outside of Tyree Adams? It's hard. It's really hard to do it. Now, we'll say Ohio State did not have their best offensive line year last year, but they eventually did get it right, and they got a few guys healthy. So you can work around it. But yes, there are some things that you should be concerned about. And your overall eye test should tell you that there is a clear, to me, top three in the SEC. It's Tennessee, Georgia, and Oklahoma. And then, of course, I would still keep LSU number 4. But Texas A&M's in that mix, in that next tier, and is Alabama. Auburn as well. They look good today. If you didn't see Cam Coleman, I warned you guys on Tuesday. I said if Cam Coleman put his name in the transfer portal, we would need to be the highest bidder. I do not want to see that guy on my schedule next year. He's that damn good. He is so freaking good. Like, second best receiver in college football good. There you go. TJ's not mad. But congratulations, Zan. Super Dad's a PHL. I got to help TJ out. Now, I'll also tell you this. The Ole Miss burners are the worst burners. Everyone says it's Tennessee, that Tennessee's got the worst burners. And I know Tennessee is a big part of my coverage on Power Hour SEC. But for the most part, Tennessee fans, their best fans are the best fans, and their worst fans are legit terrorists. I mean, you would think the absolute worst. But Ole Miss burner accounts are nasty. And dude, there's I'm not even going to say the meme. There's one that was so bad. I couldn't believe somebody would have the audacity to say what they said, and I went off on them on Twitter. You can see it for yourself. I'm not even going to bring it up. But I say that because they're going to try and trigger you because they know they can't actually win something of relevance, and they know that the season for them to actually do something was last year. Let's go to Buck. Now, it's one thing if your name is Buck. The second thing is your name You're holding a buck. Thank God your name isn't Rick. You'll have to admit, that was a great joke. Oh, man, that's a great joke. That's why. That's why they used to get me to write for shows, man. That's why. I've sent plenty of writers packets, and they said, "No, you actually suck." I've sent in writers packets, and I'm not good enough to write jokes for actual shows. But I thought that was clever. I'm trying to. I'm trying to laugh because we won tonight. We should be happy. But the truth is, after watching today, Oklahoma looks like a complete tackle football team. Vanderbilt looked good again today. I know they played Georgia State, but they still look good. Texas A&M. I don't know if South Carolina ended up winning. Could someone let me know? They're in a dogfight with Missouri. And then, of course, Alabama's Alabama. Arkansas is a good team. Don't let the 2-2 record fool you. Let's go to Damon. Receivers besides Xavier haven't been great. Mizzou ended up winning? Let's go, Tigers. South Carolina lost. Interesting. Oh, we got a few higher we got a few higher learning fans in here. Some Abby Phillip. Obviously Rachel Lindsay's higher learning, but some CNN fans of Van. There you go. There you go, Grimes. Yeah, we'll hit you up, man. Jalen says, I'm still not sold on the John Mateer hype. He's good, man. I don't know how many more times I need to say it. You should be sold. Now, is some of it misleading? Yeah. Like, I don't think he's special by any stretch of the imagination. But he's a good college quarterback. Think of him like a better version of, let's say, Steven Garcia. He's just good. Like, he can run some, throw on the run, extremely accurate, a great leader. He's good. Aaron Anderson's good. Yeah, I can't let that go. I can't let you say that Xavier Damon has been the only good receiver. It's just not true. It's just not true. Now, let's take a look at see if the Brian Kelly audio's out yet. It is. So let's hear from Coach Kelly. Let's hear from the man himself. Let's see if there's any cobble rants tonight. I doubt you're going to see that tonight.
Play, and I thought we upheld that standard. There's no perfection out there. But there was definitely some progress. So we made the progress that we were looking for. Now we got to build on that. Going into Ole Miss on the road against a very good football team. Again, the goal here was to play to a standard, not to the opposition. A lot of respect for Coach Selfo and what he's done and accomplished, but we had the better team and the better players, so it then becomes much more about your execution and the things you do. And I thought we did some pretty good things today, certainly. So with that, we'll open up the questions.
Yeah, Brian, how do you maybe judge the way Garrett played against a team, or how well he played against a team that's overmatched, but when he also hadn't done some of those things yet this year?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think you look at the efficiency in which he threw the football, targeting the football, seeing the field. It's still whether they're step behind or not, it's still recognition and feeling comfortable out there. And you could see there was a higher level of comfort in terms of him throwing, and then certainly running the football as well. So yeah, we're not saying that we beat the number one team in the country, but it still requires the technical development that we hadn't seen, and now that he's healthy, he's able to do a lot more.
Coach, how do you think Juwan Johnson's decisiveness as a runner has helped him? How do you think his experience at quarterback has helped his decisiveness as a runner?
I just think he sees the game really well. I think his natural instincts took over at that position, and I think we all saw the same things. Very impressed with the way he played, the way he ran, catches the football, does a lot of really good things for us. He's a really good football player, and we knew that, right? I think we all knew about him coming out of high school in terms of what he could do, and we saw a glimpse of that tonight.
Yeah, Brian, specifically, what did you want to see out of your offense tonight? I mean, going into this game, the transfer from the practice field.
Yeah, I think the aggressiveness, as you know, we went forward on 4th and 11. That wasn't something that we had been doing. I thought we needed to get out there with some rhythm, throw the football, mix in the run, but operate like an offense needs to operate. I thought we were very conservative early on, but that was, by plan. Tonight needed to be one where we felt that we moved in the right direction from an offensive perspective.
What'd you think of Garrett's accuracy, zip on the ball, and just his mechanics?
They were so much smoother. His awareness in the pocket, his ability to get the ball out in the vertical seams, very easily could have hit a post for a touchdown. A couple of them were challenging catches. I think we only had one ball really that we didn't hook up with Nick Anderson on a comeback to the field, and they weren't on the same page. Other than that, I thought his ball placement was really good.
How you doing, Coach? Right here.
Got it.
In the back. Bauer Sharp, I thought he had a great game. Actually started his college career off at Southeastern, then wound up at Oklahoma, now at LSU. How have you seen his leadership really transpire on this football team?
Yeah, I mean, I think we all hear this quite a bit. I think the really good players affect others around him, and his energy, his passion for the game brings up others around him. Nice to see him catch the football. We thought we would get a chance to get it to the tight end, and certainly we found him in some big situations. I think our third down conversion was 9 of 14, and he was targeted on some of those. But yeah, he obviously starting at Southeast Louisiana, this was a big game. He was one of our game day captains, and he was excited to play in it.
Coach, our first time seeing Michael Van Buren on the field this year, him and Garrett tonight, they spread out the ball. You had 7 different Tigers hit the end zone. What can you say about decision-making and just maybe your offense turning a page this year?
Yeah, I was pleased with Mike tonight. I thought there was a couple of zone reads that, I want to be really critical, but I thought he threw it on really good tempo and balance. Ball came out on time. I thought, from my perspective, for a kid that hadn't played and hadn't got much time since last year, I thought he came in and you can see the talent that you have at that position.
Ryan, you talked a lot about confidence in the past. What does a game like this do for the confidence of not only your offense, but your defense as well?
Yeah, I think more than anything else, it's, for our defenses that they want to play to a standard and maintaining that standard. I think they showed that obviously in the first half. We made some changes, obviously, in personnel. I think everybody's aware of that. But this group on defense is got a lot of pride, and they know that they can be a great defense, but it takes consistency. So today was a big day for them, right? Where they knew they could let their guard down. And if they did, it would be seen. They did not. They came and were mature about the way they practiced this week, and you could see it on the field.
In short yardage situations, y'all went under center quite a bit. What was kind of the thinking into that this week, and is that something that can be expected to be seen moving forward?
Yeah. How do you like it? You like under center? Didn't know if it was a second question coming there. Yeah, I just think that, from what we're trying to do from an offensive perspective is that we want to strike on a wide front with that run game. And sometimes if you're in the pistol or if you're in shotgun, it's hard to hit the C gap and bounce things out. And I think direct snap gives us a lot more variety to the run game, and it's proven to be effective for us. So I think you'll see more of it.
Just wanted to say
If he doesn't
hello.
have a question, you don't have to add anymore. I could leave right
Okay.
now. That'd be nice.
I got one right here.
All right.
Another game, another targeting call, another conversation with an official.
See, I knew you were going to set me up for this. You were just waiting. You were just trying to get something to get me.
No, just
How am I doing? I'm doing so calm and collected. Man, and then you throw that one out. Look, I don't know what to say anymore. It's an offensive lineman who we don't work any time with tackling. And it was a runner, and he might not have had the best form on the play, but he wasn't looking to target or knock somebody out of the game. He was trying to hold on for dear life. I just don't know why we can't figure this out. We can't do it right now. I get it. But at the end of the year, this has got to be addressed. And I know what I'm going to get hit with. Well, if we do that, then targeting's head injuries are going to rise. And I just think that's, an easy way out of this conversation. Yeah, it's going to take a hard decision that a runner in that situation, it's incidental contact. And if you want to give him a 15-yard penalty, go ahead. But to throw him out of the game, obviously I'm not on that side of it.
Coach, first of all, congratulations on a good win. Earlier in this news conference, you used the word healthy to describe Garrett Nussmeier. I know that he had been battling a torso issue since training camp.
Yes,
Would you describe him right now as 100%? And if not, do you expect him to be 100% for the Ole Miss game next weekend?
Yeah, I'd say that, we had talked about during the week that he was on the other side of the injury and he felt really good. And that's why, we actually ran him a little bit. He felt good running the football. And we knew during the week that he was healthy just by the way he was throwing the football. So, yeah, I would say that that's the version that you'll get the rest of the year.
You guys rotated quite a bit on the offensive line
Yes, we
today
did.
with Cohen and Carius Kern,
Mhm.
DJ Chester. Just what did you like about some of the guys that were able to rotate in? And
We're
play?
just trying to create a new line of scrimmage, and we're very demanding with that group in terms of creating a new line of scrimmage. And, we're evaluating our offensive linemen after contact. I mean, it's easy to line up. You shouldn't jump offside. You need to stay locked in. You need to know who to get and how to get them. But at the offensive line, there's contact. What are you doing after contact? And that was a big point of emphasis today. We were giving guys an opportunity to show us how well that they were going to play after initial contact.
I got two if I could. Coach, I noticed Caden Durham limped a little bit at the end of the second quarter off the field. Is he doing okay?
Yeah, we'll find out. We'll get an MRI. The first I heard was an ankle sprain, but we like to check those things out. So we'll get probably an MRI, make sure everything's good, or a full scan tomorrow, and then we'll have a better report on them.
Thank you. And then red zone 6 of 6, fourth down 3 of 3, and then very efficient on third down as well. Just what was different about the execution and the key moments in this game today?
Yeah, that's what we were looking to do offensively. If there were some priorities, if you will, in this game from an offensive standpoint was the conversions. We talked about it last week. We didn't convert very well in short yardage situations. That needed to be a point of emphasis. So when we got those opportunities, we were prepared. We had the calls that we liked during the week dialed up. And we wanted to get into some fourth down situations because invariably you're going to have these. We didn't do that in the first 3 games. So we needed these opportunities. This game was a really good opportunity for us to sharpen up in those areas that we're going to need moving forward.
I like that BK's got the hat a little sideways, little fashion statement.
Coach, Juwan Johnson led the team in carries tonight. Is that something we should expect more moving forward, or was it more matchup based tonight?
No, I don't think it was matchup. I think, he was in the rotation. And Coach Wilson likes to go with a hot hand. If he sees a couple of really good runs and he likes the way that player's running, they may get a few more carries. So I don't know that I would read too much into it other than he's a valuable player for us and he'll be part of our rotation. Good. Thank you.
There you go, Coach Brian Kelly. For me, You take a look at Juwan Johnson, but more so the offensive line. Brian Kelly focusing on contact. Which offensive lineman could play through contact the best? Impressive day, though, from the QBs. This really was a freaking fantastic day. 35 of 43 total, knowing a good chunk of these were drops. So, yeah, I mean, it's just really good stuff. It is really, really, really good stuff. Let's go to Pegasus. I do think the targeting is something. You know, you would prefer to have DJ Chester available for the second half next week compared to the first. We should be fine in the first, so we should be fine overall because he's going to miss next week's first half. But also in his defense, you really need to make the tackle, and he did. So, really excited he went in there and made that play. Chester showing some good versatility. He's played all the positions on the offensive line. He's played center, he's played guard, he's played tackle. Now, he's not played all of the individual positions, but he also has a tackle to his name. Yeah, you know, we touched on it briefly earlier about Caden. It does pop up. It does. Now, I will also say that Caleb has also missed. That was also an issue for him early in his career. So maybe Frank needs to evaluate how we teach our running backs and their vision. It's also one of those things that's really tough to teach as well. You also have to factor in with this LSU running back room that we're shorthanded. Trey Holly, whatever happened off the field happened. JT Lindsey, we don't know if JT Lindsey's good or not because, well, something off the field happened. So we have had some issues getting the running back room where it needs to be. But the truth is, it's more so the structure. It's a structure. Let's go to Tiger for Life. Carter, OU was fortunate to win today. Did you watch the game or just read the stats? I did watch the game. Their defensive line dominated this game. The only reason Auburn was remotely close to being in this game today is that they have by far the best receiver in the SEC. Now, I know Tennessee fans want to claim it's Chris Brazzell, but if there was a draft for wide receivers, Cam Coleman is going first overall every single time. Every single time. So it's just the truth that Cam Coleman is superhuman, and that's why that game was close. Now, is Oklahoma perfect? No. But they're a complete football team. They're good. They're good. And you're right, he did miss a few today. He did. Pablo Sanchez, welcome to the channel. I think LSU can fix DJ Lagway respectfully. Respectfully at the end, like Soy Sauce Sports. Now, you got to be really online to know who Soy Sauce Sports is. He's actually a friend of mine. We became friends at a Fanatics Fest. Put you through the mattress respectfully. Love me some Soy Sauce Sports. Huh? Yeah, now, if you don't like that kind of humor, it's not really something I would say, but but Pablo Sanchez, that is so interesting, respectfully. can LSU fix DJ Langway? He's going to be the most interesting buy low because I think at this point he's going to enter the transfer portal. It just comes down to cost. What is his cost? Buck says, I believe his vision was much better last year. Well, what's different from last year to this year? We had Will Campbell. That's the difference. It really is. Sometimes it really is that simple. We don't have Will Campbell. The thing is, you not only miss Will as a player, you miss him as a leader. You really do. But with that said, we had so many false start penalties last year. Trouble lining up last year. Getting guys in the right position last year. Run game was still a disaster tonight in terms of blocking. You know, it would be nice to have a running back have a 20-yard rush, not in garbage time at the end of the game. It would be very nice. Yeah, Connor Shaw. So this is totally random. I wasn't going to bring this up, but I've always liked Connor Shaw. We played against Connor Shaw. He had like a health scare of some kind. So I'm glad. I heard he's on the mend. Connor Shaw is you hate college football if you did not like Connor Shaw. He was fun. You know, it's funny. A lot of these college quarterbacks that were good in college but didn't do anything in the NFL, they wore number 14. There's a lot of ones that are like number 14. Dude, they're all gritty. Dude, God, I really did like Connor Shaw. He played in some wild ass games. Night from Canada. Ahmad Hardy is crazy good. It's also kind of sad because ULM couldn't keep him. You don't have the money. Dude, that game was so great. The Jeremy Hill breakout. Jeremy Hill's gotten a lot of references tonight. Friend of the channel. The game was a bust when BK started with a negative passing yard play. We won't really know anything about that play until we get the all 22. I don't like it though because you know it's so strange. I think a few things are happening to me because I do watch a metric shit ton of college football. I curse from time to time on the weekend streams, okay? I watch a lot. I watch a lot of the highlight montages and all of that. But it is really hard to go from in the 5 teams, excuse me, that I watch more than anybody else. Obviously LSU. But the 4 on the SEC channel that just run the roost is Georgia, Oklahoma, Tennessee, and Arkansas. Where Oklahoma has a young up-and-coming offensive coordinator who's not even 30 yet, and Ben Arbuckle. Then Tennessee has Josh Heupel, who's elite. Bobby Petrino is arguably the best play caller of the past couple of decades in the SEC. He's in the top 5. And then you have Mike Bobo, who is heavily criticized. He's good. He's probably like a Mike Dimbrock level offensive play caller. And then you have us. When I tell you that nothing we do is ever schemed wide open, I truly do mean it. I truly do mean it. It is so much harder to play the style of offense we play. Okay? We don't have a whole lot of leaks. We don't have a whole lot of creative misdirection plays. And I feel like this week, I want to share a few different play calls I would like LSU to implement, because you notice I never really do like the breakdown. Hey, LSU should run this play, because it might not be part of our vernacular. It might not be part of what we do, but I do think there are a few play designs that other teams in the SEC are doing. It's starting to get spread around, and we're not quite running them just yet. Now, I will say, you're right. The sharp touchdown was a thing of beauty. Yeah, it's more than just that, though, William. That was one of the best called first halves I can remember. Like, it really, like, that was some of the wildest play calling concepts I've seen even Bobby Petrino run. And once again, there's only so many Bobby Petrino level play callers that are out there. I'm not asking us to be at that level, but, you know, it would be nice if we could just get a few gimmies. It would be nice. Arch Manning staring down that Sam Houston player. That's funny. That's crazy. I can't quit watching it. Can we get an RB screen? We've tried it. It's just. All right, here's what we're going to do. Next 5 to 10 minutes, we'll answer as many as we possibly can. If you super chat, we'll keep this party moving. You guys know I do not mind going all night. This is my favorite thing to do. What? How do you pronounce your last name? Pomplin? Pomp? Is it Pomplun? Pomplun or Pomplun? Pomplin. Or Poo. Blah, blah, blah. Caden Durham ankle sprain. I hope that's nothing crazy. This is my favorite play design from today. Now, I don't think we should run this. You're going to see a lot of people copy this. This is what I was looking for on the twitter.com. This is nasty. Handoff up the gut. Okay. And then you throw it back to the QB. Crazy stuff. That is some crazy, crazy, crazy stuff. Barry Odom, you are a dirty animal, bro. Let's go to Pegasus. He says, so in a month, are we going to be overrated or underrated? So in a month, let's just, be a little more direct here. So a month, so we have a bye week. So let's just go by the end of the Texas A&M game. Can we be 3-1 in our next 4 games? Well, South Carolina's fallen off a cliff. They, like us, had a good week 1 opponent. I say good, Power 4 team. In week 1, they beat Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech is worse than Clemson. And now South Carolina's lost 2 in a row to teams that they recruit better than. And then you're at Vanderbilt. And then you welcome Texas A&M. So can LSU find a way to go 3-1 in their next 4? If you go 3-1 in your next 4, all you need to do is go 3-1 in your final 4, and you're in the playoff. I felt this roster was a 9-3 team, good enough to get into a playoff. I don't think 9-3 is going to be good enough because Clemson and Florida just aren't good enough teams. So that does hurt you. It does. So for me, I'm still at 9-3, just based on what I've seen. So am I telling you, hey, we're going to 100% lose 3 more games the rest of the way? No, I'm not going to say that. Do I think we lose 2 of these final few games? Say final few games. These final 8 games, do we lose 2? Probably so. I would say so. I think that's about where we are right now. It's just really, really, really hard to do what we're doing without a run game and without an offensive line. And that's where we are. It was nice to get Chris Hilton to catch something. 2 catches, 19 yards, and he drew a pass interference. Lots of drawn pass interferences tonight. That's good stuff. Chris has drawn a few of those. Hopefully we start actually connecting on the throws. It's hard, though, when they're pulling you down. Now Ole Miss fans already starting to get racist. Interesting. That's crazy. Ole Miss fans already starting to call me names. I'm ready. I really want to beat them so bad next week, dude. Oh my god. The Nuts Bus full steam ahead. Garrett was fantastic tonight. Ooh, game day picked Oregon and Penn State over Bama, Georgia. That is a choice. That is a choice. Dude, next week in college football is going to be a freaking movie. Oh my goodness. Joshua was at the game. I go to Fayetteville often. I love Fayetteville. There's actually a surprising amount of LSU fans that live there. One of our biggest supporters lives there, who's from the 337. Joshua, what's good, man? I was at the game, electric as usual. Good stuff. Nuss throwing for 400 next week. It would not shock me. Would not shock me in the least. Threw for 273 tonight. So far, Garrett's total yards 232, 237, 220, 273. We won't get a QBR, I think, because we played an FCS team, but still. Oh, we got some 501s in here. Yeah, I go to Little Rock twice a month. Probably more than that on average. Take my mom to her. She's got a few doctor's appointments up there. She sees a specialist. She's fine, by the way. It's just diabetes. It's a real thing. It's wild, dude. Can Oklahoma actually win the Natty this year, though? This is the God's honest truth. If you can go to LSU, Oklahoma on Thanksgiving, you're not going to regret it. I feel like both of those teams are flawed enough that they're going to lose at least a game or two each, and that could very well be a playoff play-in game. I feel like both could be 2-loss teams because Oklahoma, they get a bye week. Then they get Kent State. But this is what Oklahoma has after Kent State. They have their rivalry neutral versus Texas. Then they have to go on the road at South Carolina. Then they're at home versus Ole Miss. And then they have to go on the road at Tennessee. Bye week. Then at Alabama. And at home versus Missouri. This really was the toughest schedule in college football this year. Now, ours was pretty tough as well, starting off versus Clemson, but we got lucky that Clemson wasn't what we expected them to be. Michigan, of course, is a decent team. They went on the road and beat Nebraska. Then Oklahoma had to randomly play a road game versus Temple. Now, Temple's not good. They blew them out, but it's something to go on the road. That's a weird road game to play. Kudos to the higher-ups at Temple for keeping that on the schedule and actually getting that on the schedule. Kent State, Texas, at South Carolina, Ole Miss, at Tennessee. I see at least 2 losses here for Oklahoma. And you could very well see 2 losses for LSU. I think LSU having 2 losses before Oklahoma is probably the most likely scenario. So could it be that LSU and Oklahoma is a play-in game? I think so. So if you can get tickets to that game, even if one of them has 3 losses, that victory could be good enough to get you in. Nevertheless, that's going to be a big game. Jace Max, where have you been? Oh my goodness. It's always in the back of my head, some of my favorite PHLers. Jace Max is definitely in the top 5. Let's go. If our offense continues to get better, not going to lie, we are going to be tough to beat. Big F. Joshua says, who do I think LSU loses to? Well, it could start next week versus Ole Miss. I think we find a way to get it done next week versus Ole Miss. I do. But after that, do I really think LSU can go 3-0 versus Texas A&M, Vanderbilt, and South Carolina? It's going to be a tough ask. So, to me, I am looking at the rest of the season, the final 8 games of the season, as 2 different sets of 3-1 opportunities. Can you go 3-1 in these next 4? And then going into the bye week, can you go 3-1 in your final 4? You're hunting hogs in the boonies. Speaking of, some tigers, some blue and white tigers hunted down some hogs today. The Unpopular Opinion Show with Johnny Caruso. First full game by LSU. Well done. I agree, though. You know, it's negative as I've been during different portions of this live stream. It was a dominant 4-quarter performance. I am getting a little sick and tired, though, of the terrible opening drives. Okay? Pegasus says, which is tougher? The next 4 or the final 4? Well, it's clearly the next 4 because the final 4 includes a Western Kentucky team. But the next 4, you also have 2 road games in that 4. So here's my thing about the Unpopular Opinion Show with Johnny Caruso. Okay. So, I would like a show that is truly truly an unpopular opinion show. So I got to check this show out. Okay, so an unpopular opinion show. I don't think sports could be an unpopular opinion show because you would need to actually share some really outrageous takes. Like, I mean, not even like Shady McCoy could have enough outrageous takes because his takes are god awful. You couldn't have that many takes. And I like Shady, but I actually like him because his takes are so bad. But I don't think you could do it in sports. I think an unpopular opinion show would need to be like stuff about like everyday things. Like I don't really think you can have like an actual serious topic show called the unpopular opinion show. Like I don't think you could do a political show and it be the unpopular opinion show. I think it just needs to be about random things. Like an unpopular opinion show, what would be an unpopular opinion? Like a truly unpopular opinion that I have. I know I don't really like the color red, which is weird as a Liverpool fan, but I'm not a huge fan of the color red. So I think that would be like an unpopular opinion because red is like the most common color we see in our everyday lives. Other than for me, it's green because I make that money and smoke that tree. No, I'm just kidding. I don't do either of those things. I wish I did at least one of those. But yeah, I think an unpopular opinion show would be something of that ilk. But what would be an actual unpopular opinion? How many subscribers do you have? Is this actually a good show? You could have a really good show and it's just not caught on yet. Like I think my most unpopular sports take would be that like Chris Paul to me is like a top 5 player of this era. If you adjust for a few things, right? But that I just don't know. Like I think like what would truly like what would an unpopular LSU opinion be? Let's go, Yusha. Lazio Roma derby today at 5:30 in the morning, and you're up at 11:43. Yusha, you need to get your ass to bed. Yusha, of course, a big Lazio fan. I have my Lazio Giorgio Canaglia jersey over here that you gave me, and the books you still gave me. Obviously, I'm a fan of Lazio. They're my Italian club. I really only care about Liverpool, for being honest, when it comes to world soccer. But Lazio would be my Italian club. Thank you, Yusha, and a very good. Let's go. I did not watch Man United at Chelsea, and I also didn't watch Liverpool at Everton. Now, why didn't I watch Liverpool at Everton? Is it because I'm a bad Liverpool fan? Because that is our arch rival. Liverpool Everton literally is LSU Arkansas, right? Except both sides really do care about it. But one team is just far superior than the other when it comes to success. But I didn't watch it because instead I went on a run this morning. And the reason is when you do the college football film study stuff, you're just sitting in front of a computer all day. Literally I cut 3 SEC film studies. I got to do an Oklahoma one for the morning, and I have to do obviously LSU one for tomorrow morning. And then we'll do the full LSU one for Monday night at 6. Everybody welcome Andrew Broke Taylor. Now, this is very creative, this profile photo here from Andrew. This is what I would consider to be an unpopular profile photo. So I'm guessing Andrew is not the lady here. It's Andrew. I think Andrew's to the left kissing the lady. Andrew, who more than likely is not as good looking as a lady. He's like, look, everyone, I'm going to stun on all y'all. I'm gonna show everyone my pretty lady that I'm kissing. Now that's an unpopular profile photo. It's a smart profile photo. Welcome to the channel. Andrew's so in love with this lady, he forgot what punctuation is. Great win by LSU. I'm looking forward to see, and apostrophes apparently. Looking forward to next week when we beat Ole Miss. I like it. You misspelled Ole Miss. It's actually a P instead of an M. I hope our offense can keep up the momentum we had and carry it forward. You're right. Everybody, welcome Andrew to the channel. But Andrew, you gotta let us know what the lady's name is. I'm sure there's nothing more romantic, unless the lady's name is Andrew, which would be weird, but you don't know. But I'm guessing Andrew broke Taylor. That's kind of a rough middle name, though. You have to admit, your lady's got to be down for you if your middle name is what I am currently. It's your wife. So she loves you when your name is broke. Or is it broke hay? Is it broke hay? Welcome to the channel. I'll show Andrew some love. And she is beautiful. You're an awesome guy too, Andrew. Clifford, thank you for the super chat. Really appreciate it. And I'm from Louisiana. Oh, it's Brock. Andrew Brock Taylor. It's Cajun. Brock. Welcome to the channel, Andrew. Sorry for mispronouncing your name. I didn't know Brock was pronounced like that. And I myself am Creole. I did not know it was pronounced Brock. Because one of my friends, her maiden name is Perk. Perque. But it's not pronounced Proc. Like, it's spelled just like that. So that's why I thought it was that. My apologies. But welcome to the channel. Clifford, good to see you. You get to pick the next topic, Andrew. And Clifford. Everyone wants to see LSU throw it deep, but the formal for a natty is short passes spread out to all of your playmakers, including your tight ends. Fade routes are so low percentage. Yeah, let's talk about this. That's an unpopular opinion from an unpopular opinion person. It is true, though, that your offense needs to be vertical. You got to have a vertical component. Seriously. There needs to be something there. Let's go to Clifford. Without the portal additions, what would Play's record be right now? Or what would our record be right now? I think was what you were trying to say. And can a team score more than 20 points on this defense? Yes, a team can. We've not played a good team yet. We've just not. We've not played a good team. It's okay to say that. Florida's not a good team. Yeah, they put up a fight versus Miami. They're just not a good team. Clemson, like Florida, extremely talented. Extremely talented. Does not mean they're good. Okay? Now, you can make a strong case that part of the reason these teams aren't good is that we beat them. Right? Clemson was deflated because we beat them in week 1 in a game that they were at home in a Death Valley match. And then Florida was already deflated from getting upset from the game before. So does that factor into some of them not being as good in some of these other games? Sure. But they're not good teams. We have a good size sample. They're 1-3. It would be a little different if they were 2-2, but they are 1-3. Florida's win is versus Long Island University, and Clemson's win is versus Troy, and they really struggled in that game. So yeah, our defense, it's really tough to say now, but by the eye test, they are very good. Now, as Andrew astutely pointed out a minute ago, the good thing about this is that our offense did get some momentum. We brought this up earlier, but we do have some new viewers trickling in here. It's something that our offense visualized and saw themselves doing well. Once again, the Clemson game does not count. We had a very specific game plan to protect our offensive line against what we were up against, which was very quick passing, low ADOT, get the football out as quick as you possibly can. And yes, that style of play is still great, but you've still got to get vertical. But what would our record be without the portal additions? Well, it's a good question. It's a very good question. You can make an extremely strong take, and we talked about unpopular opinions, but this is about to be one of them, because I know a lot of us hate this person. But the thing that we forget about sports is indeed competition. It's who you're up against. All right, even in sports that don't require you playing defense and you only control your own outcome, which is track and field, golf, those kinds of sports, swimming, you still are what your opponents are. Okay? You are who you're up against. The difference, though, in sports, when it's something like team sports, especially football, because there are so many players, and because we have a theoretical salary cap, is that every player has costs. Now, I know I've gone on this rant a few times, but part of Garrett Nussmeier's value is that per on 3, he only costs $1.5 million to LSU. Do I think that number is inaccurate? It could be. Okay, I don't want to discuss LSU player finances, but it is relevant, right? But the most valuable player to this year's LSU's team was Bryce Underwood, because he would just be a backup. I still think with Garrett sputtering the way he has sputtered at times, even with Bryce Underwood being the backup, he would still be the backup. Nebraska, he played versus Nebraska today. They won on the road. He had 100 yards passing and 50 yards rushing, basically. So he still would be on the bench. But think about us paying him what it would have cost to keep him at LSU, and us not using that money and the momentum from that decision to not get on our ass and actually put together a good roster. And Joshua sees where I'm going with this. So this goes along with Clifford's super chat, and it's a point that's made by quite a few people. But our team is a mercenary team. We are mostly being run right now by transfers. Our best offensive lineman is a transfer. Another one of our starters on the offensive line is a transfer. Okay? So the 2 offensive linemen that came in are starting. We have brought in, out of high school, on this roster right now, there are 10 offensive linemen, roughly 10. It's probably closer to 8. How many of them can play that we recruited out of high school? 1, Tyree Adams. That's it. Weston Davis is a problem. Palma Binga and Cohen Eccles can't seem to figure it out. DJ Chester, he is what he is. Ori Williams, so on. You guys get the picture. We'll see what Carius Kern can do. I'm really high on him, as many of you know, and Solomon Thomas is hurt. It's a case-by-case thing. Our best tight end this year has been Bauer Sharp. Trades is unhealthy right now. That'll probably change pretty soon. He's a transfer. We don't have any running back transfers, so it's impossible there. Michael Van Buren's our backup quarterback. He's a transfer. Our best receiver, arguably it's been Berrien Brown. He is a transfer from this last class. But half of our best receivers are transfers. Xavion isn't quite included in that, but he's obviously a year 2 transfer. Go to the defensive side of the football, especially now that Gabe is out. Our defensive end room, transfers. Our defensive tackle room, Bernard Gooden has been our best DT. That's been a good homegrown position, though, with Bro, McKinley, and Jacobian. Linebacker, all our own guys. You give us credit, but our secondary is transfers. All transfers basically there. So how many of those transfers would we have gotten if the Bryce Underwood thing didn't happen? It's impossible to know. It's impossible to know. But I would venture off to say we still land 75% of those guys. It's tough to say, though, because so much did change after that, including Brian Kelly putting $1 million of his own money. You know who else who did that? Brent Venables. Who are the 2 coaches that are undefeated? That weren't probably favored to be undefeated at this point. Who was under a lot of pressure. There's no 2 coaches in the SEC under more pressure than Venables and BK this year. You can argue Hugh Freeze, he's also been good. And they also spent a hell of a lot of money in the transfer portal. We would be in a tough spot. Let's go to Andrew. In your opinion, grade us using Dabo Swinney's grading system. That's a funny thing, Andrew. We brought this up in the pregame show. I would pay a lot of money for at least one LSU reporter to go to the next Clemson press conference to say, hey, Dabo, what would you grade your team in each of the last 4 games? And what would you grade LSU? And it wouldn't be a joke, because the funny thing, as much as we like to dunk on Dabo Swinney in that comment, he was actually right. I feel as if he was somewhat accurate in saying that our grade was 68, because I think if we were being honest, that's probably a little low. I wouldn't say our team's a D. I would say our team is a solid B- at this point. It's going to be interesting, though, because AP poll voters suck. Do they knock LSU down some? LSU was the near consensus number 3 pick. There was 2 teams that had LSU voted number 1. Reese Davis and another writer, which is crazy to me. And I would love nothing more than LSU to be number 1. Oh, this is an unpopular opinion. College transfer portal is the equivalent to the NFL draft. That's an unpopular opinion because I completely disagree. I think the college transfer portal is true, unabated free agency. Because the NFL draft is more like recruiting, right? You have a certain amount of slots, like old school high school football recruiting. And the players still get to choose where they want to go. But I get what you're saying in that it is different. Where you're right about that is it is a more professional model. It does feel like the NFL. Even though I don't feel it's like the draft per se, it is still like the NFL. Okay? Let's go to Pegasus. This is interesting. So we did get Pop Houston to commit. Okay. Are we going after shorter quarterbacks? Yeah, so you look at the NFL, most of the quarterbacks in the league are bigger. It's either they're bigger or they're insanely athletic. Insanely athletic. So like Lamar's not the biggest guy, but he's obviously the most athletic QB maybe ever. He's a freak. Same thing with Jaden, right? But yeah, our QBs, Garrett is arguably the biggest QB that we have. Colin Hurley's thick, but he's like 6'1". Michael Van Buren is 6 foot. Pop Houston is around that area as well. But Pop Houston's only a sophomore. And once again, this is just part of the evaluation. But Preston Guy agrees with me, and it's hard to argue against this. When it's all said and done, Pop Houston will be the most accomplished high school quarterback from the state of Louisiana in terms of numbers. How does that compare to like Brock Berlin and those guys? I mean, it gets fishy there, but Pop Houston is insane. He is so unfreaking believably insanely good. Like, it's freaking ridiculous how good he is. He's literally got a lot of pop. He is a good runner. I wouldn't say he's a great elite runner, but he is very good with his legs. And, man, he just sees the game really well. Keeps his eyes downfield, does have the play extension ability. But, man, one thing that's very impressive about him is he is really good at getting the ball up and down. Yeah, they're 6'2", 6'3". Yeah, you're right. All right, Johnny, we'll see you. Looking forward to the unpopular opinion show. I was trying to think of it like another random like unpopular opinion that I have. Oh, this is one. I think truck drivers are the most essential workers that we don't necessarily think of as essential. Like, the most essential workers that we have are doctors. I don't think anyone would disagree with that. But that's just like so blatantly obvious that doctors are the most important. I don't think anyone would say otherwise. It should be your first answer almost every time. And then obviously the second one would be like teachers, right? But or the police or paramedics or whatever. But we literally would not have shit if we did not have truck drivers. We wouldn't have them. I'm just trying to think though, like, what would be like, I'm just trying to think of another unpopular opinion. Oh, one thing we don't consider enough. And by the way, this isn't a referendum on this asset that I'm about to bring up, because because it kind of coincides with my last point. But we do need to evaluate our obsession with cars. Like, we really, really, really do. And we've all had people close to us lose someone in an accident or know someone. I recently had the best man of a wedding I DJ'd a few months ago died in an automobile accident recently. Like, cars are just so insanely dangerous. Like, it is insane. Like, it's wild. Like, it's really wild when you think about it. And I don't think we don't think enough about it, because like we just get in our vehicles and just get to our destination. It's obviously not as big of a deal if you live in a small town. I live in a smaller town, but it is unreal. Like, if you actually live in a city and you really think about what you have to do on a daily basis driving in a city, you would be like, just go drive in Baton Rouge for a week without actually living in Baton Rouge. There are so many left turns you have to make that you are a hair away from perishing. Okay. Now, this is it seems morbid, but it is true. These accidents have paid for some of LSU's recruits with Gordon. That's how he builds empires. And I like Gordon. He's obviously really good at his job. I'm open for a Gordon partnership. I've met Gordon before. I've met Morris Park before. I've sat close to him at Pelicans games. But, you know, cars are crazy. Now, I like cars. I do like cars. I'm very fortunate to have one. But holy crap, dude. And where I think cars are really overrated, it's the actual culture around the automobile industry. So two of my closest friends, the best man at my wedding and another one of my friends that works in Baton Rouge, they're managers at car dealerships. Dude, these guys work like the Keebler elves. Like, I mean, what are their work schedules? Yeah, we get up at 6 and we work until 9 every night. What? Selling rides? Dude. Cars are, dude, the culture surrounding cars have never ceased to amaze me. If you're a relatively healthy person, which, you know, I work out, obviously I'm chubby. You guys saw that a little bit earlier. It's insane. It's insane to think about. See, Jace Max, philosophically, he doesn't work for us here at PHL as well. We're going to get him on the channel pretty soon. When you really think about it, okay, that truck driver that for some damn reason's in the left lane and he's pissing you off, he's probably in hour number 7 of an 11-hour shift driving from Kansas to Utah to deliver some taco shells or whatever shit. Well, the people in Utah need their taco shells. Oh, Andrew, there's no more divisions, unfortunately, to tell you. So it's just the 2 best teams that get there. That's part of it too, Damon. Like my wife gets on me because I drive slow now. I drive mostly slow. Sometimes I speed. Who doesn't? But you don't really save a whole lot of time speeding. You really don't. And this will come after me, popos all you want, but we all text and drive. We're all distracted in driving. It's insane. It is insane. Like, my dad and I were going to a Pelicans game, and he was in the middle of like a 6-hour drive. And like he was in a rush, right? So we're speeding a little, and there was a guy in a beat up Camry who was going 90, and he passed us and he would slow down. He would pass, and we're like, why is he passing and then slowing down? And then so we got even with him. He was texting, like while driving 90, just hand underneath the wheel. It was insane. But I'm done with that rant. Shout out our top super chatters. Rai Van takes home the top super chatter along with Grimes. Let's go to Yusha. TJ did send a Venmo. This is why I didn't see it. My stupid freaking alerts were off. TJ, I know you're asleep because you're a new dad. That's my fault. He gets me to DJ his wedding, and then I miss his super chat via Venmo. And Venmo super chats do help more because I get it. I get the money immediate, and I don't have to wait till the next month to get it. And Venmos I get 100% of. YouTube super chats I only get 60% of that. I think it's something like that. So TJ, I'll send you this in the morning. It's a good question. He says, if our O-line is going to suck this bad, thoughts on having a true blocking tight end or a fullback as a somewhat permanent part of the offense? All right, so you know, I know some of the players. All right, one very prominent player joined us on the channel, and Jack Pyburn, and obviously Jack's family has become friends of the channel, and it was a big deal that he played fullback. Okay, now there was rumors: are we going to play more of him at fullback? Is it going to be a bigger part of what we're going to do? What I can tell you is we were in I formation more tonight. I like being under center. I do. I really, really, really do. Things come in waves. Teams are so slow to running everything out of shotgun, and now we should get back under center. The Los Angeles Rams play a lot under center, and it's not even just play action. It's just true drop back, and it's beautiful to watch. If you grew up watching old school football, Dan Fouts and stuff like that, you're going to love watching the Rams. So they actually get under center and just run pure drop back types of things. I love it. Like, I know it looks weird, but I freaking love it. I really, really, really do. True drop back. But to TJ's point, would going under center really help our offense? I think it would. I think it really would. So TJ's point, should we have a more pure blocking tight end? Well, we don't have that. We've tried Bo Bordelon as like this extra blocking tight end in short yardage. It's not really worked a whole heck of a lot. It's had some success. Giovanni Peterson is a backup tight end. He's not really played a whole lot this year. We do have Donovan Green, who's probably the most traditional tight end of the big three, the three scholarship tight ends, Sharp, Green, and Tradez. Sharp is the tight end that most closely plays like Mason Taylor, and Tradez is obviously his own animal, basically. So TJ's point is, would it help if we had a more traditional tight end? Would it help? And the answer is yes, it would. Okay, so a great example of this is the Buffalo Bills in the NFL. I know we've used a few different NFL examples. So the Bills spent a first-round pick on Utah's Dalton Kincaid, and he has mostly sucked. He dropped the big pass versus the Chiefs. He's not been a bust, but he's not really that good, okay? And you can't really use him unless you're using him as a wide receiver. Well, then what's the point? You drafted him as a tight end, and if you're using him as a receiver, well, he's not as good of a receiver as he is actual wide receivers. So the value of him is nullified because you're drafting him as a tight end in hopes that he can be someone who can block, but is also like a good pass catcher. So what did the Bills do this last draft? Well, they drafted a tight end by the name of Jackson Hawes. And Jackson Hawes is not a receiver. It's just not what he does. But he was the best blocking tight end in the NFL. Who's been more effective in the NFL this season? Has it been Dalton Kincaid? He's been good. He's been good in comparison to what he's been in the past. But has he been better than Jackson Hawes? No, Jackson Hawes actually caught a touchdown this past week. Jackson Hawes has been mauling people. So, to TJ's point, and once again, I apologize, TJ, for missing your super chat. It is something. It would be nice to have a blocking tight end. So someone like, honestly, a perfect fit would be Jack Pyburn. He would be a very good blocking tight end. If defensive end doesn't work out in the NFL, I would seriously consider him doing that. Now, is he fast enough to do it? I would think so, yeah. Oh, come on, Damon. Damon, please. Please, come on. You've had good comments. Are you really going to sit here and say Josh Allen has never done much for me? It depends on what you mean by that. Are you saying never has done much for you because you're not a Bills fan? Now, I thought what ESPN said this week, that Josh Allen is playing quarterback better than anyone that they've ever seen. I saw Mike Greenberg say that was obnoxious, stupid. But that is pure insanity. Josh Allen is a freaking cyborg. I think all time he's already underrated. I really do believe that. Like if you want to get real, there's not many playoff quarterbacks in the history of the NFL better than him. Well, Connor, he hadn't beat Mahomes. Yeah, he's Patrick Mahomes. He's got Travis Kelce. He's got freaking Andy Reid. Yeah, he's had Tyreek Hill in the past. You know, he hadn't beat Mahomes. Okay. Who's Josh Allen lost to in the playoffs? Joe Burrow, who's obviously very elite when he's healthy, and then he's lost to Mahomes a bunch. Other than that, he's been one of the best quarterbacks any of us have ever seen. So to say he's not done a whole lot for you, well, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Like, I don't think people quite understand like how much better him and Lamar is than everyone else. And this is coming from a Burrow Jaden guy, like we all are. Okay, it's not me glazing those two either. They are the best. And it's okay to say that. That's how good those two are. They're really that freaking good. Is Wyoming, Colorado the only game on? What happened? What happened to society? J Smacks, we're going all night, man. I got 3 different film studies I have to go cut, but I'm with the PHL diehards. I might go crack another Michelob Ultra. What the hell? Now my stream won't come on. Okay, there we go. Let's go, Coach Prime. Give me a W. Speaking of Josh Allen, Wyoming. No, we do have to sign off here. I'll push back on the Bowers does everything. He does not block well. Now Warren can do everything. He's not a great blocker either, but he's only a rookie. Bowers is not a blocker. But the difference between him and Kincaid is Bowers is arguably the best receiving tight end we have ever seen in terms of a prospect. But we'll see what happens. Raiders offense is a disaster. Yeah, there's this guy named Film Watchers on Twitter. I like he's on all the platforms. He's good. He does really good film breakdowns. And this is coming from a film analyst. He does really good short form film breakdowns. And dude, his rant today on Ashton Genty was amazing. He does only NFL. Obviously, I mostly do college. I have a very successful film NFL channel, but the Raiders just are. There's some guys that the film community always likes a whole hell of a lot, and they're not good at all. And Geno Smith is that guy. Is Geno Smith good? Yeah, he's good. But some of the film guys would be like they would have Geno in like their top 10s. And I'm like, what? Geno a top 10 quarterback? In which universe? What universe? I don't know if he's the best quarterback that's been at West Virginia in the past 15 years. Oh, Joshua. Oh, Joshua, please, dude. Don't come at me with the Nooners. The funny thing is, I actually love High Noon's branding. The problem with High Noons is that's become my wife's drink of choice. And I like them. Like, I actually do like High Noons. I'm not a big seltzer guy. It's just, damn, dude, you've got to, dude, Joshua, I could see why you can't afford a profile photo because you've got to have a freaking wallet to be drinking some Nooners. Holy moly. Those Nooners, whew, dude, they are like, what happened to men drinking Busch Light, where you can get a 30 pack for $2? Dude, you can get a 30 pack of Busch Lights for the price of a quesadilla. I mean, but Nooners, holy hell. You got to decide, hey, am I going to drink tonight, or am I just going to skip out on mowing the lawn or paying to get my air conditioner fixed or whatever? Nah, I don't mind, Joshua. You drink Nooners, but drinking a Nooner now is like drinking a Cosmopolitan, bro. You're fancy. Excuse me in my Ultra here. Excuse me. No, dude. If I was at a party and there was nothing else but Nooners, I would be okay. I would be perfectly fine. But my wife's a big Barstool fan, and then obviously Nooners are just the talk of the town. And obviously High Noon does a lot of Barstool stuff. So an Ole Miss fan called me a racial epitaph of an Indian person on Twitter. Dude, it is amazing. I've been called the epitaph of like basically every race, which I would not say because I appreciate my monetization status on YouTube. But when I did stand up, I would talk about it. It's always strange. I'm no victim though. Chris Rock says I'm not a victim, but it's funny. Ask any of my friends, dude. I've been called every last thing, and I find it hilarious every single time. But the Ole Miss burners, dude. The Ole Miss burners, bro. Watch the freak out. You know something else I find to be dude, I like Coors Light, dude. The Coors Light it hits, dude. Coors you'll never see me. Dude, for some reason, every time I'm in Fayetteville, a Fayetteville Coors Light Silver Bullet, dude, hits, bro. Hits when I would go on Dixon Street. Now, it'd be a trip to go up there from Baton Rouge, but it was I loved Fayetteville. I did not have any Baker Mayfield evenings in Fayetteville. It was fun though, dude. I would freaking go. Whew. And I will also tell you this. Does Arkansas have some I don't know how to describe it. A lot of Arkansas does not have sights to see, if you will, but Fayetteville, I'm just telling, dude, don't judge, dude. Don't judge. Every single viewer of PHL when I've brought this up, you go to Fayetteville, literally some of the most beautiful women in the SEC are on that campus. I'm serious. Like, no, whatever. Now, I don't know how it is now. It'd be kind of weird for me to say because I've not been up there in forever. But there's a lot of pretty people of all ages because they got money. What is my honest take on Garrett Nussmeier right now? Where you think we can elevate his game? It's a good question. I know he's been hurt, and tonight he looked very good. I feel like he will only get better. So the truth is, Garrett really hasn't played bad. I don't think the Florida game I would consider to be bad. The turnover was bad. The Louisiana Tech game was bad. There was a lot of bad in there. But the thing about the offense that LSU is currently running is it really has no rhyme or reason. And it goes back to like for instance, since we were talking about Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, they are so transcendently good at football. I'm not talking about the postseason, right? Mahomes is obviously better in the postseason than all of them. But the postseason is such small sample sizes, right? Lamar and Josh are so damn good that there's so much shit that they can do to make a lot of other things look better. But it took a while for both of those teams to find the right ecosystem for even those two system lifters, if that makes sense, right? To where with Garrett, we've never really found what that thing is. And I go back to when we had a Game on Paper join our channel. It was a pre-recorded interview that we had available for patrons. And let me see if I still have the clip. I might have deleted it to bring in another interview clipping. I did delete it. But his name is Salim Galani. And I asked him about, and he's a probability analytic ace. He runs gameonpaper.com. And I asked him about the third down conversion rate for us last year. We were a really good third and long offense. And my theory on that was we're not going to be good offensively if we're going to need to rely on third and longs again, no matter how good Garrett Nussmeier is, because it is such a hard thing to do, converting a third and long. There's going to be some statistical regression. And while we have had some good third and longs, and we were good on third and fourth down in this game, it's really hard to survive that way. It was basically Garrett, Mason, Aaron, and Kyron just making shit work. And we had Will Campbell who could hold up long enough on a third and long, and Emory Jones could hold up long enough on a third and long to block on those deeper drops. There's a lot of that involved. So the thing is, when we ran our offense last year, part of the overrated aspect of our offensive numbers overall being good is that a lot of it was just our guys making stuff happen instead of our offense working with our guys to make things happen. I hope that philosophically made sense. So, I don't think Garrett's necessarily played bad. like I said, Louisiana Tech game was not great. It was not great. Tonight he was really good. Clemson game, obviously, he got what needed to get done. He was very good in the Clemson game. And then these two games in the middle have been whatever you want to call them. We were just so overmatched on the offensive line versus Florida. It was crazy. Ghastly Gamer, who lives in Arkansas. I'll hit you up next time I'm in the 501. Joshua says the beautiful women from Fayetteville are from out of town. So that's even better. I mean, it's just true. There's a lot of beautiful women in Baton Rouge that aren't from Baton Rouge. What are the 3 annual rivals going to be? Okay. I do not think we're going to keep Arkansas. As much as I want it, as much as I care about that rivalry for a lot of different reasons, I do not think we're going to keep Arkansas, which sucks because it is a trophy game. My best guess would be Ole Miss. I feel pretty good about being one of the 3. And then it gets fishy. You know, I did an exercise a few years ago with a college football analytics account, and what he did was he actually just polled a bunch of writers for each team, and I was one of them. And LSU was the team that was picked the most as a team that they would want as one of their 3 permanents. We were picked by Auburn. We were picked by Alabama. We were picked by Arkansas. We were also picked by Florida. So, yeah, it would be nice if we could keep Arkansas. It's probably not going to happen, which sucks because it is a trophy game and there's a lot of similarities between the two. So my hope is LSU Arkansas remains. Obviously, Arkansas wants to keep it, and we should want to keep it because that's a more winnable game on our schedule. Now, to the Ghastly Gamer, he makes an interesting point. Do the permanents matter as much as we think? Yes and no, because you're still going to play every team every other year. And because the games don't have inherent scarcity as they once did, because you're going from 8 to 9. So even though it's 3 permanents compared to 1 permanent, like you used to have with the permanent cross-division rival in the SEC East and SEC West, you're basically going from 3 permanent opponents out of a 9-game conference schedule to 7 permanent opponents from an 8. So you're going from 7 out of 8 to 3 out of 9. So the teams inherently you play every year don't matter as much as they once did. And the opponents you play every year are going to be more diverse. So what's actually true is the order of the 6 teams you play, not of the 3. Those 6 probably matter more than the 3 because it goes from 3 permanents to essentially 9 permanents in many ways because those 6 teams are permanently going to remain on your even or odd number schedule. I understand it's tough to theoretically explain out loud. So let's just say for some reason, let's just put up a schedule matrix just to make this a little bit easier. And I've had a few of you complain that the schedule matrix is kind of tiny, but I want to fit all the teams in there. Some of you could see it. If you're watching on mobile, it is tougher. So let's just say Alabama gets screwed. Let's just say Alabama gets absolutely hosed because obviously they have to keep Auburn, which is one of the better teams in the SEC. They have to keep Tennessee, which is one of the better teams in the SEC. And the SEC sticks it to Alabama and says, look, LSU Alabama is one of the highest rated games we play every year. I want to keep it on the schedule. Okay, so let's just say that does happen. Well, what if Alabama gets to schedule one of the seasons where it's Arkansas, Florida, Ole Miss, mix in one good team, maybe Georgia or Mississippi State or someone like that? What if it's a mixture of that? And then the other years, it's all the softer teams. So in theory, Alabama could play Auburn, LSU, and Tennessee every year. But what if the other 6 games are Vanderbilt, South Carolina, Missouri, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, and Arkansas? Now, that would mean some years their schedules would be softer than others, and then their hard year schedules are very hard. So how the other 6 teams matter a little bit more than one would think. Well, UL, it's not a rivalry. They don't have a coach. All right. That'll do it for me. Great show. We've already shouted out all our super chatters. Tonight, we'll have a film study in the morning. And tonight we are doing, oh yeah, it is Power Hour LSU. Tonight, we are doing some garlic turkey sliders. Let's go. Let's go.